Hello, everyone. Eid Mubarak to all of you from me and TC Sen. And welcome back to Gen Z Unfiltered. Your favorite host took a small break, but now we're back. I'm Amreet, and I'll be hosting the show today. Ishkirat and Simrit will be joining me in the weeks to follow. Today is Eid-ul-Fitr, also known as Eid. It is a religious holiday celebrated by Muslims worldwide, and it marks the end of Ramadan. To celebrate Eid on Gen Z, I have 4 awesome guests joining me today to share their celebration stories. I'm so excited to learn more about Eid, and I hope you are too. Now, without further ado, let's welcome our panelists of the day, Siraj, Nada, Zarnab, and Al-Isha. Eid Mubarak, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank
Eid Mubarak to you as well.
Eid Mubarak to you too.
Thank you. All right. So today we brought you guys here to teach us about Eid and why it's celebrated and the traditions behind it. And I can't wait to get started. So Zarnab, I would like to ask you, what is Eid and why is it celebrated?
Thank you guys so much for having me today. So Eid is our celebration at the end of the holy month of Ramadan. Usually we have either 29 or 30 fasts, but I'm not an expert. It could be more different. So we come together at the end of our final fast, and it's an opportunity for both celebration and reflection. I think we celebrate the fact that we were able to fast for the 30 months and the growth that we were able to undergo as individuals, and the growth that we had in terms of our faith and how close we got to our faith and how much growth we had as that. But I think it's also an opportunity of reflection to see how we can implement what we learned in those 30 days, 29 days, however many days it is, and how we can take that with us throughout the rest of the year and continue to essentially be the refined people that we were able to be in the month of Ramadan and carry that spirit with us throughout the rest of the year until the next cycle of Ramadan.
That's awesome. Thank you, Zarnab. Suraj, what traditions and rituals are performed during Eid? Would you like to share a little bit about that?
First of all, thank you so much, Amreet, for having me here today. So there are a few rituals that take place on Eid-ul-Fitr. So there's 2 Eids. First of all, this is Eid-ul-Fitr and there's Eid-ul-Adha, which is a few months down the road. And so on Eid-ul-Fitr, there's a few common traditions, common things that Muslims take part in, and that's something specific to Eid-ul-Fitr sometimes. So first and foremost, there's always the Eid prayer. And so this is immediately after sunrise, and this is where Muslims meet in the mosque, and we have a congregational prayer in which we offer our prayers to God, effectively thanking God for, first of all, the blessings of Ramadan, but also in terms of how we can improve on our daily lives after Ramadan. And so that's one of the first things that we do and that's something that you'll find everywhere in the Muslim world. You'll have masjids, you'll have mosques that are absolutely packed with people, across the world. And even in Calgary, for example, we have thousands of people that come to the mosque for the Eid prayers. And then you have something else that's called Zakat-ul-Fitr. And Zakat is something that it's effectively a mandatory charity that we have to give, on the day of Eid or before the Eid prayer. And the reason for this is, of course, one of the major elements of our faith is the fact that we are quite connected to charity and donations. We want to help the poor as much as we can. And so Zakat al-Fitr is another opportunity that we have to effectively be thankful for some of the things that we have and give back to those who are in need. And finally, there are specific traditions that are relevant to each specific region of the world. But one of the things that is, of course, most commonplace is that it's a day in which you gather with all of your family, and then you have a wide range of traditional food. And alongside that, for example, in Pakistan, we get a little bit of cash on Eid. It's called Eidi. And so some of our uncles and aunts, they give us a little bit of cash so that we have some pocket money. And for those uncles and aunts that are watching, $50, not 20, please.
That's great. Thank you, Suraj. So you mentioned that mosques are usually packed with people, right? But of course, because of COVID, that's probably not the situation right now. So Nada, would you like to tell us about what pre-COVID celebrations look like and how is it different now?
Yeah, for sure. But first of all, thanks for inviting me onto your show, Amreet. Thank you. And before COVID, a lot of the time it would be like thousands of people in each mosque around Calgary. It would just be packed, you know, shoulder to shoulder, which is part of the tradition of praying. You're supposed to be as close to the next person as you can be. But, you know, because of COVID, you have to be at least 6 feet apart and wearing a mask during your prayer, which is not optimal, but it's still like, at least you still have the opportunity to go pray in the mosque. So yeah, now with COVID, a lot of the things have changed during Eid, which is we can't really have big family gatherings and go see everyone. So now it's more of a home tradition where you just stay at home, or you can go to the mosque and pray with your mask on. But it's like, it's not really the same feeling, but it's still Eid, so it's not a big problem.
Yeah, that's understandable. So from what I know, I think you guys have big feasts at home usually, right? With family and friends. So what does that look like right now?
Well, now it's because, you know, indoor gatherings are limited to 5 and my family is 6 people. So we can't really have anyone over for dinner at any time during Ramadan. We usually have big iftar feasts around the time of Ramadan, but we can't really do anything like that. And we can't have big gatherings for dinner during Eid, which is, you know, not the best.
Yeah. Well, I really hope that next year you guys can all celebrate Eid together and that everything will be okay and we can all do our traditions and celebrations together. But yeah, thank you. Madam. So, Alisha, I would like to know how Eid is connected to Ramadan. I know Zarnab mentioned that Eid happens at the end of the Ramadan tradition, but is there more that you could provide us information on?
So Ramadan and Eid are really big topics, and I'll try to shorten them into a few into a paragraph. So Ramadan is the most sacred month of the year in Islam, and Muslims observe the month of Ramadan to mark that Allah gave the few chapters of Quran to our Prophet, peace be upon him. During Ramadan, Muslims fast, they stay away from sins and pleasures, and they pray to become closer to Allah. To mark the end of fasting for 30 days from before sunrise to after sunset, we celebrate Eid. Now, Eid in Arabic just means a celebration or a feast. And this is celebrated all over the world by Muslims. And it might look a bit different in different countries, but let me tell you, the enjoyment and the excitement in our hearts for Eid is the same.
That's great. Thank you, Alisha. So earlier, Siraj mentioned that there's different celebrations and traditions in different countries. So Nada, would you like to tell us about how Eid is different in Canada compared to South Asian and Middle Eastern countries?
Yeah, for sure. So back in Lebanon, there's a mosque basically on every corner, and they have big speakers. So at any time during the day when there's a prayer, they blast this thing called the adhan, which is a ritual or like a prayer that's said before we start praying the 5 of the day. And it's blasted among the neighborhood for the people to know that it's the time to pray, rather than in Canada where everything is done inside of the mosque because not everyone around Canada is dominantly Muslim. So yeah, but around Canada, it's just, we just go to the mosque and we stay inside the entire time. And it's not really neighborhood celebrations like it is in Lebanon. It's more just, you know, within your family and going around each family member's house. And in Lebanon, it's like on the entire block, everyone is visiting each other and celebrating. And it's just like a really beautiful celebration back home.
Wow, that sounds really beautiful too. Thank you, Nada. Yeah, I always, in movies and music, I always notice that there's usually an announcement for a prayer, and I always wondered what that was or why it was an announcement. But yeah, so thank you for educating me on that, and I hope our viewers learned something new as well.
Yeah, so back home in Pakistan, it's a huge difference between here versus back home, and the reason for that is because, you know, back home it's a national holiday, right? And so because it's a national holiday, pretty much your entire neighborhood, the entire city is in celebration, and they have a lot of fun doing a wide range of activities and things like that. And the other thing, of course, is that you have much larger gatherings. So here in Canada, you know, we have our own family members and, you know, we have big families, but back home, we have 50, 60 cousins, right? And all of them gather in the same space to celebrate Eid. And, you know, it's pretty much a fun way to unite together and have a fun communal gathering. And the other thing, of course, is that you basically know who your neighbors are. You know your entire neighborhood by name. And so because of that, everybody's united, everybody's like family. Whereas here in Canada, it's more of a difference where life goes on as normal with the rest of the country, with the rest of the city, when you're the only ones that are celebrating, whereas on the other side, it's completely flipped.
Yeah, thank you. So now we'll have Alisha and Zarnab answer that as well.
So for me, I'm also from Pakistan. I think when I was younger, I think it's changed as I've grown older. I think I'm fortunate to have a large amount of my family currently in Canada. So we've had the tradition of meeting up with one another and hanging out every Eid. I think something that I've grown to appreciate as I've matured throughout the years is usually when I was younger, I would just take Eid as like, if it was a school day, I would take it as a yes, I missed school for one day. I'm so special. I'm so this, I'm so that. But I think I've grown a newfound appreciation, and I feel really grateful for the increased understanding that and appreciation that is given to Muslims at this time of year. I think, for example, on the fact that you guys are having us on your show today, I don't think that older generations, in particular my parents, I don't think they would have ever had the opportunity to talk about their religion in this way. I don't think that the previous generations that came to Canada at a time where there wasn't as large of an embracement of each other's different cultures, I think they wouldn't have had these opportunities. So I think while the traditions are different in Pakistan and Canada, I think as I've grown older, I've grown to appreciate the fact that with greater appreciation and understanding of what Muslims are celebrating in Eid, I feel like the differences are fading a little bit, because I feel like the appreciation and the atmosphere and the excitement is felt in both places equally.
I recently moved to Canada, and I unfortunately don't have a lot of family members here. So I really miss having Eid in India. And it's such a big festival over there. Like, you have to experience it. So like when it's Eid, early morning, everyone's dressed up. We're ready to pray and we're so excited. Like last night, I know we all get together and we prepare food in large batches, because we know the next day family members are going to come and visit us. And I know not just my Muslim relatives, but also my non-Muslim friends, they always come over for sheer kurma, which is a very popular dish that's made on Eid in India especially. So they all come over, and we also like give them some for their family, and it's just a beautiful celebration. The city is decorated, and it's just excitement everywhere.
Yeah, that sounds very exciting. Thank you, everyone. So now I would like to ask all of you about your favorite moments of Eid, and if you have any favorite traditional dishes. Let's start with Nada.
Yeah, I think I'd have to say my favorite part of Eid, if I were to be humble, is visiting my family. You know, gathering at my mom's parents' house and seeing all of my aunts and uncles all together. But, you know, on the side, my favorite part is, And yeah, I do have a favorite traditional dish. It's a Lebanese dish. It's called mlakhi. It's you have rice on the side of it, and it's a certain type of leaf boiled, and you have to boil it all day because it's really difficult to cook. You can either have it with chicken or lamb. I'm not sure if people eat it with beef, and it's made with chicken stock, and yeah, you eat it with like rice on the side and bread. It's really good.
Ooh, wow. I'm vegetarian, but I'm sure that's pretty mouth-watering for a lot of meat lovers. All right, Siraj.
Yeah, so for me personally, I mean, I would agree in the sense that, I personally prefer visiting family specifically. Oftentimes we get busy in our daily lives and we don't see some of our extended family members in a while. And so Eid gives us that opportunity and that chance to be together. And the other thing that I really like about Eid is just the chance to be united with the community, especially, at a mosque, for example. So for example, it's a huge and it's a very different feeling when you have thousands of people in the mosque praying beside you. And that's something that's a very, very special experience that is unique to Eid specifically, in the sense that, here in Calgary, we have tents that are, brought up, and so that we can have thousands of people that join us on the day. And, some of my best memories as a child have been with some of my cousins, witnessing and going to some of our Eid prayers. That's something that I really, really enjoy. And lastly, my favorite dish would probably be butter chicken. It's a very, I think all of you know what it is. Butter chicken is a very generic dish, Indian, Southeast Asian dish, and something that I quite enjoy, and something that I quite love.
Nice, Siraj. Thank you. Alisha?
I think my favorite part about Eid is when, you know, my cousins come over and we obviously all bought these new fancy dresses and we're all like comparing our dresses to each other and how our shoes are matching our dresses and our jewelry and everything. That's my favorite part. And since I haven't seen them for so long and they come over, it's just extra fun. And then we beg our family for sleepovers and all that jazz happens. Sorry. My favorite dish, which is also traditional, is shir kurma. Now, this is an amazing dish. So it's made with pistachios, almonds, and all dry fruits and stuff. And it's like for us, especially, it's only made on Eid. So like having this dish is so special for me, especially. And we have to cook it for very long periods of time. And so it's usually prepared the night before, and then we distribute it among all our family and friends.
Yeah, I don't celebrate Eid, but I know the excitement of getting ready and dressed up in traditional clothing. So I feel that for sure. Zarnab?
For me, I think I have a few favorite parts. I think my favorite tradition would probably be spending time with family, because I feel like, again, as everyone else said, sometimes we tend to drift apart sometimes when we don't necessarily have a reason to meet up with each other. I also think I'd really appreciate like leading up to Eid. I feel like the presence on platforms such as social media, and when especially when non-Muslims acknowledge our Eid and, like, again, how we're doing it right now, I think it's something that's really special to us as Muslims, because I think I feel like it's kind of just a sense of belonging in a way, because when other people like message us telling us Eid Mubarak, it feels really good, and I feel like that's something that I really enjoy. I agree with Alicia, the dressing up, especially for me, who does not dress up very often. I think dressing up on Eid is kind of a nice change of atmosphere. And for my favorite food, I would probably say all the sweets that we get, because even though I eat it every day, it's a lot of fun to add extra sweets on Eid.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you, everyone. I really enjoyed talking to you guys today and learning more about Eid. I am way more educated now than I was before. And yeah, I wish you guys Eid Mubarak again. I hope you have a great celebration with your families. And thank you for joining us.
Eid Mubarak. Thank you so much for having us.
Thanks so much,
Eid
Eid
Mubarak.
Mubarak.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you. Bye.